أهلا بيكم في تحليلنا المعمق النهاردة. معانا حتت من رواية امال عظيمة لتشارلز ديكنز. هنركز النهاردة على بيب بطل القصة، وهو بيحاول يطور نفسه ويبقى شخص مش عادي. هنشوف الأول إزاي طموحه ده بيخبط في حيطة كوميدية جدا في موضوع التعليم ده، وبعدين ننقل على مقابلة تانية غريبة ومقلقة كده في حينة. هدفنا نفهم أكتر إيه اللي بيحرك بيب، واللحظة دي بالذات ممكن تغير حياته إزاي. القصة بتبدأ لما بيب بيقرر إنه خلاص لازم يتعلم عشان يبقى بني آدم تاني، وبيشوف إن أحسن طريقة هي إنه يتعلم كل حاجة تعرفها بدي دي قريبة مستر وابسل وبتساعد في مدرسة مسائية. المدرسة دي بقى حكايتها حكاية، بصراحة اللي بيحصل جواها ده سوريالي قوي. تخيل معايا كده تلاميذ قاعدين ياكلوا فاكهة ويرموا قشرة على بعض.
والمعلمة نفسها قريبة مستر وابسل العجوز بتبقى نايمة طول الوقت تقريبا،
ولما بتصحى فجأة تروح ضرب أي عيل قدامها بعصاية خيزران كده وخلاص.
بالظبط كده. الوصف ده عبثي ومضحك كمان، بس هو ليه معنى أعمق. ديكنز هنا بيستخدم السخرية دي، الكوميديا السوداء دي، عشان يورينا الفرق الشاسع بين طموح بيب إنه يرتقي وبين الواقع المتردي للتعليم اللي كان متاح لطبقته. التفاصيل الصغيرة دي زي الكتاب المقطع اللي عمال يلف بينهم ده.
والكتاب ده أول ما يبدأ يلف تلاقي المعلمة دخلت في غيبوبة.
تمام. أو مثلا محاولة بيب إنه يتعلم حرف الدي من حتة جورنال قديمة، في الأول كان فاكرها رسمة لإبزيم حزام أصلا. كل ده بيوضح إصراره، رغم إن البيئة كانت محبطة جدا.
صحيح، الإصرار ده وسط الفوضى دي كلها ملفت قوي.
طيب ننقل بقى المشهد تاني خالص ومهم برضه. حانة الثلاثة بحار المبتهجون. بيب رايح عشان يجيب جو اللي هو الحداد، وجوز أخته اللي قايله له يروح يجيبه. المكان نفسه ليه جو كده، علامات الطباشير بتاعت الديون على الحيطة اللي شكلها عمرها ما بتتسدد دي.
وفجأة بيظهر شخص غريب بيب عمره ما شافه قبل كده. شكله كتوم كده، ومايل راسه ومغمض عين، كأنه بالظبط بينشن على حاجة ببندقية مش متشافة.
الراجل ده مش بس شكله اللي غريب، لأ، ده تصرفاته كمان أغرب وأغرب. هنا بقى بتبتدي عقدة الغموض تتكون. اهتمام الراجل الغريب ده ببيب بالذات ده ملحوظ قوي ويثير أسئلة كتير. الموضوع مش مجرد فضول عادي، الأسئلة بتاعته كانت محددة ومجاشرة لجو عن علاقة بيب بيه.
سأله اسمه بيب ده ابنك؟ طب ابن أخوه؟
ولما ما لقاش إجابة واضحة، معرفش يوصل لحاجة، راح منفجر بغضب كده وسأل أمال يبقى مين ده بحق. التركيز ده كله على طفل صغير زي بيب ومحاولة معرفة هو مين بالظبط، ده بيخلينا نسأل إيه السر ورا الاهتمام ده كله.
والتوتر بيزيد جدا في اللحظة اللي بعدها على طول. الراجل الغريب ده بيقلب المشروب بتاعه بحاجة محدش يتوقعها خالص. مبرد حدادي.
مبرد؟
مبرد حدادي. بيب يعرفه فورا، ده نفس نوع المبرد اللي هو زمان سرقه واداه المدان اللي كان هربان في المستنقعات. رد فعل بيب كان صدمة وذهول، مش مسبق نفسه، كأن الماضي رجعله بشكل مادي.
وبعدها على طول الراجل يروح مدي البيب شيلين جديد بيلمع وملفوف في ورقة.
طب ايه معنى الإشارة الواضحة دي بالذات؟ المبرد ده وبعدين الفلوس كمان.
المبرد هنا هو ده المفتاح كله. دي رسالة سرية ومقصودة موجهة لبيب هو لوحده. الرسالة دي بتربط الراجل الغريب ده بشكل مباشر بالمدان الهارب وبالسر اللي بيب كان فاكر انه خلاص اتدفن ومحدش يعرف عنه حاجة. طبيعة الإشارة دي إنها خفية كده بتوضح إن في شبكة أسرار أكبر بكتير بيب لسه مش فاهمها خالص. أما بقى موضوع الفلوس، الشيلن اللي طلع جواه ورقتين تانيين كل واحدة بجنيه، فده بيزود الغموض أكتر.
ممكن تكون مكافأة ولا تمن سكوته؟
ممكن، أو ممكن تكون بداية إنه يتورط في حاجة تانية خالص. ده كمان ليه علاقة بكلام الراجل قبلها عن المستنقعات والبحث عن الهربانين. الماضي مش بس بيرجع يطارده، لأ، ده كمان بيدفع له فلوس.
مفهوم قوي. وبعد المقابلة دي حالة بيب النفسية الكاتب بيوصفها إنه مذهول. ذكرى مساعدته للمدان، أو زي ما هو بقى شايفها دلوقتي فعلته الماشينة القديمة، بترجع تطارده تاني وبقوة بسبب المبرد ده. الخوف والقلق اللي يمكن كان ابتدى ينساهم شوية رجعوا تاني.
بالظبط. والفلوس اللي خدها دي بتتحول لعبء عليه، لكابوس بيخبيها ومش عارف يعمل بيها ايه.
تمام.
المقابلة دي بتهز عالم بيب الصغير ده وخططه البسيطة عشان يبقى شخص غير عادي. لو بصينا للصورة الأكبر هنلاقي إن السر القديم ما بقاش مجرد ذكرى في دماغه وخلاص. لا، ده بقى ليه وجود مادي ملموس ومخيف كمان في شكل الفلوس وذكرى المبارد ده.
وده بيضيف طبقة جديدة من التعقيد والخطر يمكن لرحلته إنه يحقق طموحه.
بالظبط، حلمه اللي كان بريء في الأول بقى مهدد بخطر حقيقي جاي من ماضي هو نفسه كان جزء منه.
يبقى كده لمنا الموضوع، بدأنا بطموح شخصي، رغبة في التعلم والارتقاء، وبعدين شفنا تجربة تعليمية يعني كوميدية جدا بتوضح قد إيه الموضوع صعب، وانتهينا بلقاء غامض ومقلق بيرجع الماضي تاني وبيفتح الباب على مستقبل مش معروف ومليان احتمالات خطر.
ونختم بسؤال كده ممكن المستمع يفكر فيه. الراجل الغريب ده بمعرفته الواضحة بتفاصيل معينة زي المبرد والمستنقعات وبتصرفاته المقصودة دي زي الأسئلة والفلوس، يا ترى إيه دوافعه الحقيقية بالظبط؟ وهل المقابلة دي هتبقى نقطة تحول فعلا؟ يعني هتدفع بيب في طريق تاني خالص غير حلمه الأصلي إنه يبقى غير عادي؟ ولا هتكون مجرد عقبة هيعديها ويكمل في طريقه؟ سؤال يستاهل التفكير.
Okay, so picture this. You're in like a really dimly lit pub, you know the kind, and there's this low murmur of conversation, and then you see this guy stirring his drink. But he's not using a spoon, he's using a metal file.
Yeah, that immediately makes you stop and think, okay, what's that about?
Yeah.
Unusual, to say the least.
Exactly. It just grabs you. And this moment, this image, it comes from a chapter in a larger work. The original title translates roughly to the pasted text. And it really zooms in on this young character, the protagonist, and how he sees the world around him.
Right. Very observant kid.
Yeah. So our mission, let's say, for this deep dive is to unpack two things happening in his life around the same time. They seem pretty separate at first glance. First, his attempts to, better himself, get educated with this girl, Biddy.
The ambition.
Right. And second, this really strange encounter he has at the local pub, the Three Jolly Bargemen. We want to explore how these everyday kind of events actually tell us a lot about his world and maybe hint at, bigger things down the line.
It's a great setup. You've got this upward striving, the desire for something more, bumping up against something potentially dark or complicated from his past. So his goal to become uncommon, what's driving that, do you think?
Well, it seems pretty simple from his perspective. He looks at Biddy and he thinks, she knows stuff. She can teach me. It's like he sees education, even the very basics Biddy can offer, as his ticket out, his way to be, uncommon.
Yeah, that word uncommon is interesting. It suggests he really feels the limitations of his current life. And Biddy, she just jumps right in to help him, doesn't she?
Oh, instantly, which says a lot about her, especially when you contrast it with the other education he's getting.
Yes, Mr. Wopsel's great aunt's school, if you can call it that.
Right. It's less school, more containment zone. You've got kids eating apples in secret, putting straws down each other's backs.
All while the great aunt is kind of nodding off, except when she randomly wakes up and, hits someone with a birch rod.
It's wild. And the learning materials. This one raggedy old book passed around. Apparently it had the alphabet, some numbers, maybe a bit of spelling.
And it gets passed around while the great aunt's basically comatose. You have to wonder what actual information is being absorbed.
Almost none, you'd think. Then there are the exams, like that competitive toe-treading thing focused on boots. What even is that?
It's hard to picture. And Biddy trying her best, handing out these old, falling-apart Bibles with apparently insect remains inside.
Yes. Defaced, illegible.
Yes.
It just paints such a picture of decay and, frankly, neglect.
It really does. And the description of Biddy sometimes having actual physical fights, like single combat, with the students just to get order.
And that awful chorus reading where everyone's shouting but nobody understands anything.
It's pure chaos.
Yeah.
Not exactly an environment conducive to quiet study.
Not at all. And then the great aunt's wake-up call yanking some poor kid's ear, plus the place itself. It's dimly lit, doubles as a shop, maybe a bedroom too. Resources like slates or ink are scarce, especially in winter.
Yeah, just layer upon layer of inadequacy. It makes you realize how hard it would be for anyone to actually learn, let alone become uncommon in that setting.
Absolutely. Which makes Biddy's one-on-one efforts seem even more important.
Exactly. Her teaching him practical things like, what was it? The price of moist sugar.
Yeah, and that specific lesson on drawing a capital D, I love the detail that he first thinks the D is supposed to be like a design for a buckle.
It's such a small, perfect detail, isn't it?
Mhm.
Shows you exactly where he's starting from, how basic things are. But Biddy's patient.
It's this real contrast, though, this huge ambition he has, set against this backdrop of just utter educational absurdity. It really drives home the challenge he's facing.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
Makes Biddy's contribution feel quite significant, however small it seems. Okay, so let's switch gears. Let's talk about that pub, the Three Jolly Bargemen.
Right. He goes there on an errand to get Joe. And the first thing you notice, or at least that the text points out, are these really long chalk scores on the wall.
The unpaid tabs.
Suggests a certain kind of casual approach to that, or maybe just how things are done there. Sets scene.
Definitely paints a picture of the place. And maybe it's patrons. It's a different world from the chaos of the schoolroom. A different kind of social space.
And the people there, you've got Joe, who's always a solid presence for Pip. Mr. Wopsle being dramatic as usual.
Always performing.
Always.
Yeah.
And then this new guy, the stranger, he's described as secret looking.
And that physical detail, the head tilted to one side, one eye kind of screwed up.
Like he's aiming an invisible gun.
Yeah, that's such a striking image. It instantly puts you and Pip on edge. You feel like this guy is dangerous, or at least observing very intently, calculating.
And he immediately perks up when he hears the name Pip. That's the first clue. This isn't just some random guy in a pub.
He zooms in on Pip,
Mm-hmm.
starts asking Joe questions. Is this boy related to you?
And Joe's answers are kind of funny, but also a bit evasive, aren't they? Denying any relation in this long roundabout way.
Which probably just makes the stranger more curious. And then Mr. Wopsle has to jump in.
Oh, of course. Mr. Wopsle explains very pompously that there's no family tie. Then quotes Shakespeare, Richard III.
When iron hearts grow soft. Classic Wopsle.
Uncle Bob was Pip's hair. Which, inadvertently just draws even more attention to the poor kid.
Right. The whole time you get the sense the stranger's eyes are just fixed on Pip.
Yeah, that feeling of being watched, singled out, must have been incredibly uncomfortable. Especially for a child.
You really feel that unease. Pip knows something is off, even if he can't put his finger on it yet.
And then we get to that moment. The file.
Ah, yes. The climax of the scene, really.
The stranger stirs his rum and water. Not with a spoon like a normal person.
But with a file. A metal file. Just picks it up and stirs.
It's so jarringly weird. What did you make of that when you first read it?
Well, if you didn't know the context, you'd just think, okay, that's eccentric. Maybe a bit unsanitary. But for Pip, it's like a lightning bolt, isn't it?
Totally. Because he knows that file. Or one just like it. He's the only person in that room who gets the significance.
Exactly. It connects directly back to that earlier encounter he had, the one involving the convict. It's a physical object linking the stranger to Pip's secret past.
A past he probably wishes would stay buried. And here it is, being casually used to stir a drink right in front of him. And the stranger, after doing this really revealing thing, he just starts talking about turnips.
Yeah. It's almost comical, the sudden shift to this mundane topic.
Yeah.
Like he's deliberately messing with Pip, or testing him maybe, or just showing he's in control.
It definitely adds to the tension. Pip's reeling from recognizing the file, and this guy's just chatting about root vegetables.
Leaves Pip holding this explosive piece of knowledge that no one else sees.
Then the stranger leaves, but first, he gives Pip a gift. A brand new shilling.
Specifically for Pip, and folded up in this crumpled piece of paper.
But then inside the same paper, there are 2 1-pound notes. Big money back then.
Huge amount. And Joe, bless him, his immediate reaction is, we have to give this back. Pure honesty.
While his sister, Pip's sister, is instantly suspicious even about the shilling, thinking Pip must have stolen it, which is sadly typical of her.
Very much in character. But what about the pound notes? Why hide them like that? It adds another layer of mystery, doesn't it?
It really does. Was it deliberate? A mistake? Seems deliberate. Suggests the stranger wanted to give Pip money, but maybe secretly. Or maybe it's connected to something bigger.
It deepens the sense that this stranger has some hidden agenda involving Pip. It's not just about the file. There's more going on.
And where do the notes end up? Joe recovers them, but they get put away in this fancy teapot on the mantelpiece.
A place for safekeeping, supposedly.
But for Pip, it becomes this source of constant anxiety. He calls it a nightmare. He keeps dreaming about the stranger.
Dreaming about the invisible gun being aimed at him and seeing that file again and again.
Yeah. It shows how deeply this encounter disturbed him. It didn't just remind him of his past connection to, convicts and that low career he fears. It felt like a direct threat, maybe.
That recurring image of the file is key. It's the past literally haunting him, a symbol of this connection he can't seem to shake, no matter how much he wants to become uncommon.
So when you put it all together, you have this kid reaching for the stars, or at least reaching for literacy with Biddy.
Right, trying to climb out of his circumstances.
Stuck in this frankly ridiculous school system. And then, bam, this figure pops up out of nowhere carrying this object, the file, that just yanks him right back to the secrets and potential dangers of his past.
Yeah, the aha moment for the listener and for Pip is realizing the file isn't just a random prop. It's a message. It's proof that someone out there knows his secret. This stranger isn't just some oddball. He's connected somehow to that hidden part of Pip's life. And his interest in Pip is clearly deliberate.
Absolutely. So looking at these early experiences gives you such a richer sense of his world, doesn't it? It's not just about ambition versus reality. It's about navigating this complex web of, well, absurdity, secrets, and potential threats, all while trying to figure out who he wants to be.
It really sets the stage. You understand the forces pulling him in different directions, the desire for betterment, the pull of his origins, the fear of exposure.
So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, is something like this. Think about how things from your past, maybe things you thought were over and done with, can sometimes resurface in unexpected ways, through people or objects or just random encounters.
And how do those echoes affect your present or your plans for the future? For Pip, what could this file and this mysterious stranger possibly foreshadow for his own great expectations? It definitely leaves you wondering.